There's a patch of sunlight on your floor that wasn't there yesterday. You didn't move the curtain. Nothing changed in the room. But somehow the light found a way in and landed on a quiet corner that hadn't felt warm in years. Most people would walk past that and not think twice. But for those who have lived long enough, who have lost and started over, who have seen life shift in strange, quiet ways, signs like this are never just random. Today's video isn't about superstition. It's not about magical thinking or believing everything you hear. It's about awareness, about recognizing when your space is trying to tell you something. Because sometimes, before our circumstances change, our home changes first. You might notice a dog that's not yours calmly lying by your gate, a plant you forgot to water suddenly growing new leaves, a butterfly landing on your window then staying longer than it should. These aren't moments to fear or explain away. They are gentle nudges from the universe, not promises, not guarantees, but quiet shifts that often appear before a breakthrough. If you've been feeling stuck, unseen, like life hasn't moved in a while, don't look outward just yet. Look around your home, because when energy begins to move, it leaves signs behind. In this video, we'll explore 8 subtle but powerful omens that could mean something deeper is stirring in your life. They won't cost you anything. You don't need to buy crystals, move furniture, or follow trends. You just need to notice and listen. Because sometimes when the right kind of energy enters a space, the shift doesn't start with you. It starts with your home. Sign 1. A spider weaving in silence. Don't rush to sweep it away. Most of us have been taught to react the same way. You see a spider web in the corner of your home and you reach for the broom. It's instinctive. You've spent years trying to keep your home clean, organized, and free of things that don't belong. And for many, a web feels like a sign of neglect, a missed corner, a flaw in the routine. But what if that delicate thread of silk, hanging quietly in a corner you rarely visit, isn't just a mess, but a message? Let's pause and really look at it. A spider doesn't choose just any spot to build. It waits. It senses. It picks a place where the air doesn't shift too much, where the vibrations are soft, and where the structure is still enough to hold. That alone should tell you something. Your home, or at least that corner of it, has become still enough to support something intricate, intentional, and quietly powerful. In many cultures, spiders are seen not as pests, but as quiet architects of energy. They weave without rushing. They don't seek attention. They create delicate systems of connection and then wait. A spider doesn't build a web in chaos. It builds where the air is calm. And in spiritual traditions, especially the ones that pay close attention to energy fields and the unspoken language of space, this is considered one of the purest signs that the energy in your home is harmonizing. Now think back. Has life felt slightly less heavy lately, even if you didn't realize it? Has a part of you started to feel less rushed? Maybe you've had a small moment of clarity, a little ease in your breathing, or maybe nothing has changed except the presence of that web in a high corner where the sun hits just right. That's not random. We're not here to glorify insects, but we are here to ask a deeper question. What does it mean when life starts leaving gentle signs of balance and we're too quick to clean them away? In everyday American life, we are surrounded by noise, news, screens, errands, pressures. Stillness has become a luxury, and yet a spider weaves only when stillness returns. Not to invade, not to threaten, but to say in its own quiet language, this space has become safe again. For those of us who have gone through loss, financial, emotional, relational, our homes often reflect the aftermath. Clutter builds, corners get ignored. Light doesn't reach certain spaces the way it used to. And when the dust settles, it's easy to keep living in survival mode, even if peace has quietly crept back in. So what if that spider is here to tell you you're no longer surviving? Something inside you has healed enough that your space is beginning to breathe again. And here's what's even more interesting. In homes where people report sudden blessings, an unexpected job offer, a surprise check in the mail, reconnection with someone long gone, those blessings often follow a period of quiet rebalancing in the home. Sometimes, just before things change, something tiny appears. A symbol, a shift, a web. There are even old sayings tied to this. If you see a spider in the morning, money will visit by evening. Of course, we don't take every old saying at face value, but we do honor the wisdom behind them, because what they are really saying is, pay attention. When life is about to turn, it often whispers first. So if you find a web, not the kind that's been there for months, thick with dust, but a fresh, clean strand in a well-lit space, especially in a calm corner or near something sacred, pause. Don't rush to remove it. Look around. Has anything else shifted? Do you feel different in that room? Is something starting to move beneath the surface? It doesn't mean you should stop cleaning your house. Hygiene is sacred too, but it does mean you should clean with more awareness. Sweep the clutter, yes, but leave room for the signs that speak in silence. What makes this so powerful is how gentle it is. There's no loud knock, no dramatic omen. Just a tiny creature creating a connection, silk thread by silk thread, between the space you live in and the energy you're starting to call in. And if you're someone who prays, meditates, journals, or simply sits in stillness now and then, you might notice the web shows up not long after. It's as if your inner peace has invited outer confirmation. It's also worth mentioning that spiders are ancient symbols of creation, resilience, and invisible intelligence. They don't hoard. They don't rush, they make and they trust. They sit in stillness and allow the universe to bring what's meant to come. That's not just beautiful, it's a model for how we can live. So next time you see that web, don't just think about dust. Think about design. Think about what's been drawn to your home and what your home might be getting ready to draw in. Let this be your reminder, not all signs scream. Some just shimmer in silence. And your job isn't to interpret everything perfectly. Your job is to notice and honor what feels meaningful. Because when life is ready to shift, the first signal might not be a phone call, a check, or a miracle. It might be a single thread of silk shining in the morning light, and that might be enough. Sign 2. A quiet dog shows up and simply lies down. It's early morning or maybe late afternoon. You open your front door and notice something that stops you. A dog, not yours, not barking, not begging, just there, sitting quietly on your front step, maybe even lying down. Calm, peaceful, as if it belongs. You check the collar. There is none. It doesn't look lost. It doesn't look afraid. It's not pacing or whimpering. It's simply resting in the one place you see first when you leave the house and the last when you come home. And you wonder, why here? Why now? In the culture of hustle and motion, a stray dog showing up might feel like a coincidence or maybe even a problem to solve. But pause for a moment. In energy-based traditions across the world, animals, especially dogs, are believed to be drawn to places where peace has begun to take root. Places that feel safe. Places where something good is starting to grow again. Because here's what most people forget. Dogs don't just respond to people, they respond to energy. Their instincts are stronger than logic. They know when someone is tense. They know when a house feels off. And they also know when a space feels calm, grounded, or quietly inviting. So when a dog, without being called, chooses your doorstep and simply lies down, not to protect, not to ask for food, but just to be, something meaningful may be happening. It might be easy to brush this off. Maybe you think it's just a neighborhood stray. But think again, when was the last time a dog stayed where it wasn't wanted? And why your house today of all days? If you've been through a hard season, emotionally, financially, spiritually, your home often carries that weight long after the storm has passed. The silence in the hallways, the things left unsaid, the routines that turned into ruts. But when peace begins to return, even quietly, it shifts the magnetic pull of the space. And animals, especially those with no agenda, are often the first to sense it. In many folk beliefs, a calm dog appearing at your door is not random. It is seen as a quiet blessing, a signal that your space has become safe enough, balanced enough to be chosen, not by someone seeking help, but by a living being simply seeking rest. That's rare. That's sacred. Think of how dogs operate. They don't fake comfort. They don't pretend to feel welcome. When a dog lies down, it's because its body believes it can. Its nervous system has found ease, which begs the deeper question. Has your home finally become a place where someone can let go and rest? It's not about the dog, it's about what the dog reflects. Stillness, openness. A home that, even if imperfect, no longer repels. A space that holds. And maybe, just maybe, that moment on your porch is telling you that the same energy drawing in that quiet dog might soon draw in something else. Clarity, abundance, connection. There's also an old belief that when a dog shows up and doesn't leave in haste, it might be carrying the presence of someone, seen or unseen, checking in on you. Not to scare, but to affirm. To say in the only way it can, you're not alone anymore. That's the part no one talks about. We search for signs in numbers, in dreams, in tarot cards. But we often miss the real-world signs that land on our front step. Breathe deeply and stay still without asking for anything in return, because those signs aren't dramatic. They are gentle, real, easy to overlook, but hard to forget. So what should you do if this happens? First, notice. Then honor it. You don't have to keep the dog. You don't have to overthink it, but acknowledge it, offer water, speak kindly. And if the dog leaves after a while, let it. If it returns, pay attention. This is not about superstition, it's about awareness. Sometimes, the energy we give off can't be seen in mirrors or felt through meditation. But a dog lying on your doormat, that's a reflection of you, of your space, of your readiness. Because a house that welcomes rest without fear, without noise, is often the house that's finally ready to welcome something greater. Not all signs come in flashes or dreams. Some come quietly, 4 legs, soft eyes, a still body, a silent message. You've done the work, peace is coming home. Sign 3. A dead branch grows new leaves without anyone caring for it. You walk past it every day, the plant in the corner. The one that used to be green and alive, but somewhere along the way it faded. Maybe it got too much sun, maybe not enough water. Maybe life got busy and you stopped checking. Its leaves shriveled, the soil dried up, and eventually you accepted it was gone. Just another thing that didn't make it. But then one day, as you're reaching for something nearby or just passing through, you see it. Not the whole plant, but one small, unexpected thing, a fresh, soft sprout. Pale green, new and alive, growing from what you were sure was lifeless. You didn't water it, you didn't move it, you'd given up on it, and yet it came back. That kind of moment, small as it seems, holds a message we often miss. Because when something long neglected begins to grow again, something in your life is trying to shift. We often think of energy in big, dramatic terms, breakthroughs, promotions, lucky breaks. But real change almost always begins quietly. It starts inside your home, inside your body, inside your habits, long before the outside world takes notice. And one of the purest signals that energy is shifting inside your space is when life starts to return to something you thought was already gone. Plants are sensitive. They respond to light, to air, to vibration. But more than that, they respond to energy. A home full of stress, conflict, clutter, or grief. A plant can feel that even if it's watered every day. And no matter how much care you give it, if the energy around it is heavy, the plant will wilt. That's not superstition, it's quiet reality. So when a plant that's been untouched, unwatered, maybe even forgotten, suddenly starts to sprout, it's not just botany, it's not just luck, it's alignment. It means something has cleared. A heaviness has lifted. The energy in your home has shifted just enough to make space for growth again. This kind of sign often shows up after a long emotional winter, when you've been carrying too much, grieving too long, or holding on too tightly. And when your body finally exhales, even just a little, when the weight starts to loosen, your home reflects that. And sometimes it reflects it through something as simple as a leaf. Think about it. The branch didn't get better because you forced it to. It got better because the environment changed, quietly, slowly, without anyone watching. Isn't that how most healing works? We want quick results, visible outcomes, but real transformation is often invisible at first, like roots waking up beneath the soil. So if you notice new life growing where you thought there was none, pay attention. That's not just a plant, that's a mirror. It's showing you what else might be ready to grow again. Your hope, your creativity, your joy, your belief that something better is coming, even if you're not chasing it right now. And here's the truth. You don't have to fix everything for your home to begin healing with you. You don't have to have the perfect morning routine, the spotless kitchen, or the feng shui fountain. Sometimes the energy shifts simply because you've started to let go of things that don't belong. The guilt, the pressure, the fear. Sometimes just choosing quiet over chaos is enough to invite life back in. So when that one green sprout appears, don't dismiss it. Sit with it for a moment. Let it remind you that not everything broken stays broken, that not everything still is dead, that the things we forget about, especially the living ones, are still listening, still responding, still waiting for the right moment to try again. And maybe that little leaf is your first sign that something in your own life is waking back up. Because the truth is, rebirth never looks dramatic at first. It looks like soft green in dry soil. It looks like possibility in places you stopped expecting it. It looks like a plant you thought was gone, choosing to grow anyway. And if that plant can do it, maybe you can too. Sign 4. A nest, a buzz, or wings choosing to stay. You're sweeping the porch or taking out the trash when you notice something new. A bird flying in and out beneath the eaves. A soft hum coming from a quiet corner near your shed. A nest tucked into the branches by your window, or even a group of tiny wings brushing past you near the garden. At first, it seems like nothing, nature doing what it does. But then it keeps happening. The bird keeps returning. The buzzing gets stronger, and you realize something has chosen to stay. Most of us wouldn't think twice about it. In a busy world, animals building nests might seem like just another springtime detail. But the truth is, birds, bees, and even bats don't choose where to settle randomly. They choose with instinct, with precision, with a deep, ancient sensitivity to energy we've forgotten how to feel. In many traditions, not just spiritual but ecological, when a creature builds a home in your home, it's not a nuisance. It's a message. It's confirmation that your space has become balanced enough, calm enough, and welcoming enough to support life. Wild animals don't nest in chaos. They don't linger where the air feels tense or the energy feels heavy. They go where they sense alignment. They stay where peace is quietly growing. If a bird builds under your roofline or near your window, it's not just looking for safety. It's telling you your space is offering it, that your home has begun to radiate something gentle. And if you've ever had bees hover near your plants or set up near a quiet wall, you know they don't stay unless the air is stable, the frequency is clear, and the land feels alive. Even bats, often misunderstood, are drawn to corners where stillness and shadow coexist in harmony. They sense balance, not chaos. So ask yourself, why now? Why your home? Why that window frame, that gutter, that porch beam? It's easy to believe it's coincidence, but look closer. Has something changed in your home recently? Have you been letting go of clutter, of noise, of old patterns that used to weigh everything down? Has your home felt quieter lately, not just outside, but inside? Because when our lives begin to rebalance, our space follows, and animals sense that faster than people do. In American culture, we often disconnect from nature without meaning to. We forget that our homes sit on land that's alive, that our walls don't stop energy from moving, and that animals were here long before we built fences and floor plans. But when a creature crosses that invisible line and chooses to stay, not just pass through but build something, it's worth noticing. They are building because something in your home says, it's safe here, it's time to grow. A nest isn't just a structure, it's a vote of confidence. It's a decision to create life in a place that supports it. And if birds, bees, or even a small family of bats are doing that near you, it's a quiet sign that abundance is beginning to take shape, close to you and maybe even because of you. Let's be clear. This doesn't mean you should keep a hive next to your window or let animals disrupt your living space. But it does mean you should pause before shooing it all away. Ask what it's reflecting, because often their presence signals that you've done the inner work, consciously or not, to make your home feel more grounded, less reactive, and more aligned with the flow of nature. And nature responds. You don't have to believe in omens or mysticism to see this clearly. Just observe. A home that welcomes nesting life is rarely a home in crisis. It's often a home in transition, coming out of a storm, recovering from loss, or finally settling into a rhythm that allows stillness to return. And when stillness returns, so does creation. That's the core of what a nest means, not just rest, but rebirth, not just shelter, but growth. When something wild decides to stay, something deep is shifting, not in the air, in you. So next time you hear wings brushing by or buzzing near your eaves, don't just react, reflect. What part of your life has become ready again, ready to welcome, ready to receive, ready to support something new? Because when nature comes closer, it's often not asking for help, it's offering you a mirror. And the message is simple: you've made space for life again, and life is answering. Sign 5. A snake crosses your entry, not to harm, just to pass through. It's not something you expect. You open the front door, maybe to get the mail or let in fresh air, and there it is. A snake, thin, silent, moving slowly across your walkway. It doesn't coil or strike. It doesn't pause or show aggression. It just passes through, almost like it is somewhere to be. And then just as quietly, it disappears. Your heart races. That's normal. Most of us are conditioned to see snakes as a threat. In movies, in stories, even in childhood warnings, snakes mean danger. But what if that's not the whole truth? What if in rare moments a snake showing up is not about fear, but about transformation? In many ancient traditions, the snake doesn't symbolize fear, it represents change. It's the creature that sheds its skin, leaves the old behind, and emerges new. And where does it begin that process? In still, quiet, undisturbed spaces, just like your front porch. When a snake crosses your path, especially near the entrance of your home, it can mean something powerful is shifting. Not because the snake is magical, but because animals, especially sensitive ones like snakes, are drawn to very specific kinds of energy. They don't linger in chaos. They don't approach homes where the vibration is frantic, agitated, or unsafe. They move through places where the energy has begun to settle, where a threshold is forming. So when a snake shows up near your door, not with panic, but with calm, it could be a sign that your home is entering a new cycle. One that requires letting go of something old, outdated, or restrictive. Just as the snake cannot grow without shedding its skin, we too cannot move forward while clinging to what no longer fits. Maybe this is the moment your life begins to loosen its grip on old roles, patterns, or beliefs. Maybe you've been trying to make something work, an identity, a habit, even a relationship that simply doesn't match who you're becoming. And then just as you're starting to feel that shift, a snake appears, crosses your entry, and leaves. That's not coincidence. That's alignment. In American culture, the front door is more than just a physical boundary. It's where you greet opportunity. It's the space between your private world and everything else. It's where things enter and where things leave. So when a snake chooses that exact place to appear and pass through, it holds meaning. It suggests that the energy at your doorstep is preparing for change, and that something invisible is getting ready to be released. This doesn't mean snakes are always good omens. If one appears in a frantic, erratic, or aggressive state, it could reflect instability in the space. But when it's calm, when it simply glides through unbothered, steady, it's often a message of movement. A quiet shift, a sign that you're on the edge of something new and the shedding has already begun. And if you've been going through internal shifts, changing how you see yourself, grieving an old version of you, or stepping into unknown territory, this sign will feel strangely personal, almost like the universe is acknowledging your transition, not with fireworks, but with something quiet and ancient, something that's been transforming for centuries before you were born. There's beauty in that, because the snake doesn't announce its arrival. It doesn't ask for attention. It moves through your space like time itself, soft, powerful, unbothered by your reaction. And then it leaves as if to say, you don't need to understand everything right now. Just keep moving. You're not stuck anymore. So what should you do if this happens? First, be safe. Always, don't try to handle it. Let it move on. But also, don't rush to erase it. Don't cover the moment with fear. Let it settle in you. Let it mark the day when something old ended and something new began. Because not all transitions arrive with fanfare. Some show up as a single line moving across your doorstep, reminding you that change doesn't always knock. Sometimes it slithers in, quiet, graceful, and deeply symbolic, and passes through without a word. And that might be enough to remind you your new season has already begun. Sign 6. A butterfly flies in and doesn't rush back out. You open the door, maybe to shake out a rug or let the breeze in, and before you even realize it, a butterfly has floated inside. It doesn't panic. It doesn't dart around the ceiling trying to escape. Instead, it lands softly on a curtain, a windowsill, or maybe even your shoulder and just stays. For a few moments, maybe longer. Long enough for you to wonder, why here? Why now? We don't expect beauty to arrive unannounced. We especially don't expect it to land in the middle of ordinary life, in our kitchens, our hallways, our quiet afternoons. But sometimes the universe sends its most powerful messages in the gentlest forms. And a butterfly entering your home and choosing to linger is one of those signs. In many cultures, butterflies symbolize the soul, the unseen, the transformation that comes not with force but with grace. They begin their lives grounded, slow, hidden, even unseen. But when the time is right, they break free from stillness and fly. And when one finds its way into your home without chaos, without fear, and without a rush to leave, it often means something similar is happening in your life. It means you're changing, even if you haven't told anyone, even if no one sees it yet. It means your energy, your space, your way of being is becoming more open, more receptive to things that are light, delicate, and beautiful. Butterflies don't visit places that feel heavy or hostile. They don't land where the energy is sharp or frantic. They're drawn to spaces that are soft, balanced, and just beginning to bloom. And here's the thing, they rarely come unless invited, not by action, but by energy. So if a butterfly comes in and chooses to stay, it's a gentle reflection of the space you've created, not just in your home, but within yourself. A space where something is awakening, where the air feels safe, where your inner life has become still enough to allow beauty to enter. Think about the last time you truly felt open, not busy, not overwhelmed, not in survival mode. Just open. Chances are that feeling was fleeting. But what if it's becoming more common? What if you're slowly creating a life that doesn't resist softness anymore? That's what a butterfly can reflect. Not a random visit, but an acknowledgement that your home, your body, your heart, has become a place that receives rather than deflects. In practical terms, butterflies are extremely sensitive to vibration, movement, and scent. Their wings can be damaged by the lightest touch. And yet, one chose to enter your home. That matters, because in a world where we often miss the subtle, the butterfly asks us to notice, to slow down, to believe that quiet beauty isn't just outside in the garden. It can find its way into your life, too. There's also something else. In many spiritual traditions, a butterfly entering a home is believed to carry a message, not always from the universe at large, but sometimes from someone who's passed. A loved one, an ancestor, someone who wants you to feel seen even in your solitude, not in a spooky or dramatic way, but as a reminder that you're not walking alone, that love in its quiet forms still visits. So what should you do if this happens? Nothing, really. Don't chase it. Don't try to make it stay. Just observe. Be present. Let yourself feel what rises. Is it peace? Is it sadness? Is it something softer you haven't allowed yourself to feel in a while? That's the point. The butterfly isn't here to change your life. It's here to point to the fact that your life is already changing. And when it's ready, it will leave, just like all good things do, but not before leaving a trace, when you can't hold but won't forget. Because when a butterfly chooses your home, even for a moment, it's not about luck, it's about readiness. Your readiness to receive beauty, your readiness to allow grace, your readiness to live in a space where the unseen is no longer unwelcome. That's a powerful kind of shift. So the next time you see one glide in, don't swat, don't panic, just notice. The wind didn't bring it by accident, and your open door wasn't just a physical one, it was energetic. And for a brief moment, the soul of your home, and maybe your own, was saying, yes, I'm open now. Let something beautiful stay. Sign 7. Water turns clear without reason or effort. You turn on the faucet or glance at the vase by the window. Maybe you're cleaning out the bird bath or just topping off the fish tank and you pause. Something feels different. The water looks clearer than usual, crisper, colder, more alive. It doesn't seem like much. After all, it's just water, but something about it makes you stop and look again. Most people wouldn't notice. We've grown used to water being a background detail, something that flows, fills, and gets ignored. But those who pay attention, especially those going through personal change, often notice when the ordinary shifts. Because when energy starts to move inside your life, it usually begins in the simplest places, and water is rarely just water. In nearly every ancient culture, water represents more than hydration. It's seen as a mirror of our inner state. Clear water suggests clarity. Flowing water speaks of ease, of movement. Stagnant water points to blockage, of emotion, of momentum, of life. So when the water in your home suddenly becomes cleaner, brighter, or more abundant, without you filtering it, fixing it, or even trying, it's worth asking, what has changed in me? Because water doesn't just respond to pipes, it responds to presence. If your home has felt heavy, if you've been carrying grief, regret, or restlessness, that energy settles into your space. It shows up in how your house smells, how it sounds, and yes, even in how water behaves. Water sits still when we do. It gets murky when emotions stay stuck. But when things start to move again, when you begin to release what no longer serves you, even quietly, water clears too. It reflects that shift. Maybe it's not the faucet. Maybe it's the way your plants are drinking from the vase more quickly than usual, or the way a bowl of water you've left out stays fresh without film or smell. These small details aren't magic. They are signals of freshness, of energy circulating, of you letting go of something unseen and your space beginning to respond. And here's where it gets interesting. In both ancient wisdom and modern energy practices, water is believed to carry memory, emotion, intention. That's why rituals often involve water, because it absorbs, reflects, and cleanses more than just the surface. So if your home is moving through a season of renewal, whether through forgiveness, quiet routines, or simply breathing more deeply, water will be one of the first things to change. It's especially significant when this clarity appears in spaces associated with wealth and well-being, kitchens, bathrooms, gardens. In Feng Shui traditions, water governs prosperity. But you don't need to study Feng Shui to understand this intuitively. Money, like water, needs to flow. And when water begins to sparkle without effort, it often means financial or emotional flow isn't far behind. Of course, we live in a modern world. Not every plumbing improvement is a cosmic sign. Sometimes the city upgrades the water supply. Sometimes the filter kicks in. But what we're talking about here is something subtler. It's when you feel the change before you understand it. When you sense a lightness you can't explain. When what's in the glass reflects what's shifting in you. It might follow a hard conversation, or a decision to rest more, or a silent moment at the window where you realized you've been clenching your jaw for years and finally let it go. That's when the energy clears. That's when water begins to shine again. And here's the quiet beauty of it all. You don't have to do anything special to invite this sign. You don't have to buy anything, chant anything, or rearrange your home. Just live truthfully. Let go of what weighs you down. Keep your space as clean and calm as you can. And then pay attention. The signs will come when you're ready to see them. So if the water in your space has recently changed, if it looks clearer, feels cooler, or flows more easily, don't chalk it up to nothing. Notice it, appreciate it. Let it affirm what your mind may not have fully caught up with yet, that things are shifting, that you are shifting, that flow is returning. Because sometimes the clearest reflection of your inner healing is right there, in a glass, a bowl, a stream of water, saying you've softened, you've opened, and life is beginning to flow through you again. And that is more than enough. Sign 8, strong walls, silent strength, your home's backbone. You don't really notice it, not at first. The paint hasn't peeled, the walls haven't cracked. The front gate still swings clean and balanced on its hinges, no screech, no sag. There's no dramatic makeover, no fresh coat of color. And yet it's all holding, quietly, strongly, just solid. We tend to overlook things that don't call for attention. A stable wall doesn't make a sound. A good gate doesn't complain. But here's something worth remembering. Strength, real strength, often speaks in silence. And in the world of energy, stability in your home's structure is not just about brick and mortar. It's a reflection of the energy you've cultivated over time. When the bones of your home remain intact, despite weather, years, seasons, and life, it's not luck. It's resonance. It means your space has been holding you while you've been holding everything else. It's been a quiet anchor, a steady pulse, a physical echo of your emotional endurance. In ancient architectural wisdom, walls represent containment and protection. They hold energy in. They create boundaries between chaos and calm. And when those walls remain strong, not patched, not bowing, not damp or crumbling, it suggests that the energy inside has become more harmonious than you might realize. The same applies to gates. Your entryway is more than a door. It's how the world meets you. It's where energy comes in and where you decide what to keep out. A gate that doesn't stick or groan or swing open too easily isn't just well built. It's a symbol of balance, of healthy flow, of a life and a household learning to guard what matters and release what doesn't. So when nothing's broken, when nothing's leaking, when the house isn't shouting for repairs, don't assume it's meaningless. It could be a sign that you've reached a kind of internal alignment, that you're not bracing for the next storm like you used to. That maybe, just maybe, your foundations, physical, emotional, and spiritual, are stronger than you've given yourself credit for. This doesn't mean perfection. It doesn't mean your house is magazine-worthy or that your life is without challenges. It means that your space is stable, and stability is sacred. Think about how often we chase progress, transformation, forward motion. But we rarely celebrate steadiness. We rarely notice the days when nothing falls apart, the corners that stay clean, the systems that just work. Yet in energy work, these are the truest signs of readiness. Because when a home reaches this level of quiet balance, it becomes a vessel, a foundation strong enough to receive growth, wealth, and deeper relationships without cracking under pressure. And here's what most people miss: homes carry memory. If your home has weathered personal storms, loss, illness, conflict, and is still physically holding, that's not just structure. That's resilience. That's energy that stayed intact when everything else wobbled. So if your walls are steady, your doors aligned, your gate firm, you're not just living in a safe house. You're living in a space that has been quietly preparing you for something new, something bigger, something you can handle now because your foundation won't shake. You don't have to replace anything. You don't need to upgrade or repaint unless you want to. The strength is already there. And acknowledging that, really seeing it, may shift the way you feel in your home. Next time you walk down the hallway or open the front gate, pause, listen, feel. Is it smooth? Is it soundless? Is it strong? Then smile, even if just a little, because what you're witnessing is the final sign, a confirmation that the space around you, like the life within you, has grown not just soft and open, but rooted, firm, and able to hold what's next. You've spent years working on yourself, quietly, slowly, maybe without applause. But now your home reflects it back, strong walls, quiet strength ready for more. And that is a powerful kind of peace. You've just walked through 8 quiet signs, each of them simple, ordinary on the surface, yet filled with quiet wisdom. A spider weaving, a dog resting, a branch sprouting, a nest appearing, a snake passing, a butterfly visiting, water clearing, and walls holding strong. None of these moments came with fanfare. They didn't announce themselves. They didn't demand belief. But what they shared was something deeper, subtle shifts in your space that often mirror subtle shifts within you. Energy, at its core, is motion. It flows through your home the way air does, softly, invisibly, but constantly. And just like air, you don't notice it until something changes. The room feels lighter, the silence feels fuller, or a living being chooses to stay longer than expected. These aren't superstitions, they are patterns, observations. Thousands of years of quiet noticing passed down by people who lived close to the land and paid attention to what modern life often rushes past. And now you've paused too. You've taken the time to slow down to see your home with new eyes. That alone changes something. So if your home has shown even one of these signs, don't panic and don't overthink. Simply notice. Let it affirm that the energy you've been cultivating, the peace, the clarity, the letting go, is becoming real, tangible, reflective. You don't need to fix everything. You don't need to chase change. Sometimes, all it takes is tending to your space with presence, with softness, with care, because your home isn't just where you live, it's a mirror of your current season, your emotional landscape, your readiness. And if you've made it this far, I want to thank you, not just for watching, but for staying with yourself long enough to notice what life might be quietly telling you. May your space continue to soften. May your days become lighter. And may the signs that visit your home bring not just curiosity, but comfort. You're already more aligned than you realize. Take a breath, and let your home keep guiding you home.